Last week, I reviewed the BMW X6, the first of the coupe SUVs. This week, another first. The first upmarket brand SUVs. So, like Aston Martin DBX, Ferrari Purosangue, Lamborghini Urus, and the original, the Porsche Cayenne. It's also the car that saved Porsche from bankruptcy. Back in the 1990s, they were running low on money. So they created a smaller sports car. This wasn't a first time for them. The 914, the 912, the 924, the 944. A lot of numbers. But those were all 4 cylinders, hence the 4. Apart from the 912. This one had a flat 6, just like the 911. It was the Boxster, a car which we all know and love today. The car that looks exactly the same, going both directions. But it was genuinely a really good car. Mid-engined, lightweight, balanced, poised. Everything you expect from a German car. It had been done properly. But this wasn't enough. It helped. But, you can't exactly kill a wildfire with a load of fire extinguishers. You need sand. And here's the sand. The Porsche Cayenne. Porsche saw that people had started to buy big off-roaders. So they sold something that wasn't a big off-roader. They sold something that appeared to be a big off-roader, but actually wasn't. It was essentially, it was supposed to look like a 996 generation 911 at the front, while also being a high-riding SUV. But it was, actually, horrendously ugly. What were they thinking with it? It turns out, though, that in its own right, the Cayenne was a really good car. Sure, it was, basically the fuel economy was American, but it sold. And it sold really, really well. And that meant Porsche could get back to making proper cars, like, what's the next Porsche to come along? Oh, the Cayman. And then the Panamera. Alright, this was Porsche's ugly era. Don't know what they were thinking. Anyway, the car in dealership Tycoon is the most recent generation of Cayenne. There's now a coupe SUV version. In fact, I think the fastest Cayenne, the Cayenne Turbo GT, makes more than 600 horsepower. Which is bonkers. Mental. Silly. It's more powerful than the GT3 RS 911. I'm not even making that up, and it's not even like a small power gap. More than 100 horsepower. It's ludicrously quick and totally silly. Everything you don't expect from Germany. And yet, actually, I think it's really cool. Especially since it's not got a stupid body kit on it. You just got to go to Mansory for that. I think there's a Mansory Cayenne. Is there a Mansory Cayenne? I hope not. I hate Mansory. There's also been a smaller version of the Cayenne, the Macan, which is basically a Golf. I'm not even joking. The Macan is more related to the Golf than you'd think. But this is the one people prefer. The Cayenne. The car that saved Porsche. So without this, we wouldn't have had the Carrera GT. It is pretty much how you'd expect a big SUV to be. Quick in a straight line. A little bit heavy, You know, and you can definitely feel it when you put your foot down. The back sort of sags. Just a little bit. Better than you'd expect, but still close to what you would be expecting. But it does, actually, at the higher ends, act kind of like a freight train. Basically, keeps pushing. And it pushes on quite well. It's pretty impressive, actually. Not half bad in the performance department. But in the corners, it's not SUV-like. It's how a Porsche should be. It is nimble, grippy, really impressive. Not enjoying it in the mountain roads because the engine needs a bit of torque, but you know, I've definitely driven worse. This is really good, not just for SUV standards, but for car standards. You can hug apexes. You know where the car's going to go because it's predictable, and that's what you want, a predictable chassis. Because a predictable chassis means it's much easier to drive. And I proved that by having an accident that, if it was in real life, would have killed me. But seriously though, I think my one problem with this thing is the brakes are a bit... bad. Very bad, actually. Remember what I was saying about it being like a train earlier? Stops like a train as well. By which I mean, barely stops at all. Still better than you'd think, though. So there's the question. We're at a race circuit. So will it be an SUV? Or will it be a Porsche? Time to find out. Here we go. Off the line. Good launch. Nice, keep it to the curbs. Still think the engine needs a bit of torque. It does lack pulling power above third gear, which is a shame because you do most of your driving above third gear. Right, come on, down the corridor. Finally we can get the power down. And it's pushing again. Pushes hard. I like it. Lake turn, easily negotiated. Bit of brakes through, I'm not sure what to call that corner. 35.56. That's a really good time. For an SUV. Just wish it had a bit more torque in the engine. So, if you have about 175 grand of cash, and you want to buy an SUV, should you buy this one? Well, yes. Closest option is BMW X6, and you really don't want one of them. This is better, this is far better. And of course you don't look like a total twat while you're driving it. So, yes, buy a Porsche Cayenne. It won't save Porsche from bankruptcy, but it will put a smile on your face, while still looking like you could fit into real life perfectly easily. So on that bombshell, tomorrow I will see you with a 1500 horsepower Rimac. See you then, hopefully.